showtime.
It's showtime. And here we go.
Welcome into another episode of the Movie Geek Podcast. I'm your host, George T. And as you can see, the new corner area of the apartment has been completed. We were in the other corner, now we're in this one. And now you can see more of my collection. And yes, it is a very large collection. And probably need another one if I can get as many more DVDs as possible. I had wished that I had taken the initiative and gotten grabbed a red box or something and grabbed a bunch out there. Neither here nor there. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Hit that subscribe button. I do get a lot of views on certain things, but not a lot of subscriptions, so definitely hit that subscription button. Even like a few. I know I've had a lot of likes on the shorts and some shares, but subscribe. Don't just watch. Okay. Now, for this episode, it is the most anticipated film that I was looking forward to in 2025, and that is the story of Until Dawn. And I've talked about this immensely throughout, so I'm going to, regurgitate some of this. If you have not seen any of the other stuff, or you're, really intent on listening to all this again, it is going to be somewhat repetitive, but I'm going to make it make sense in the fact that this movie has been divisive. It has gotten some really good reviews, and then it's got some really poor reviews. And since I saw it, I formed my own opinions, and then I kind of read some of the other ones. And I think that the ones that don't like the film don't quite understand that they weren't retelling the game. I think what they were trying to do, and I'll get into this later on, but I really felt like they did a really good job with the storytelling. I'll get into this right now. So, from the game, you had originally the story of a bunch of teenagers going to their parents' cabin with a bunch of friends, and a prank horribly goes wrong as one of the shy twins gets played a prank on and runs out into the middle of the woods during a snowstorm, and then she'll be back, whatever. The sister goes out and finds her, and then subsequently dies. So a year later, all the friends go back up with the brother, and obviously that's how the story goes. Now, in the game is a woven, thing where you get to choose how characters react or don't react, or live or die, or just avenues of ways, and you can play it a multitude of ways. I've played it numerous times. I've tried to save everyone except one character. Yeah, she was the most annoying character, and when it was her time to come up, and I'll just briefly share this, but they were down in the mining tunnel. She gets bitten, and the survivors find a book, and it's like, oh, what do we do? So they start to read it, and then you get to make the choice whether you just shoot her now before she turns, or let her live and see if she does not turn. And I was like, you know what, we'll just kill her now. I don't want to wait and see if she turns, because that means nobody might survive. So yes, that's kind of cool. in this instance, they took kind of that same mold and they put it with this group. Now, obviously, a little different. Ellie Rubin plays Clover. Her sister, Melanie, played by Mala Mitchell, is gone missing, and she, um, you know, went missing in this little town. And a year later, Clover and her friends are going up to kind of retrace the steps of where she went. They had a falling out over her mother's death, and Melanie took off and hadn't been heard from since. So at the beginning, though, we do see Melanie, what happens to her in not all the way through, but we kind of know that she's gone missing. So Clover and four other friends, Abel, played by Belmont Camila, um, and then Max, Michael Camanon, again, you know me in last names. He is dating Odessa Ison's character named Nina, and then Megan is along with them, played by Jo Young Yo. So these five retracing the steps, and you know they're kind of down on their luck at this point because again they've been trying to help Clover find her sister or find some closure because they feel like obviously she's been gone a year, um, she may be gone or whatever. So it's kind of a somber kind of thing. They show up at a gas station in this little small town where they meet, or where Clover meets, Peter Stromar's character, Hill, who is a holdover from the original game. Now, Hill played a psychologist to Remy Malek's character in the game. So during cutscenes, you would see him sitting across from Remy and character, and you would understand the butterfly effect of what was going on in the game and how he was thinking and so on. And of course, he was driving the story character because his twin sisters were dead. So how he felt and how he acted was controlled by his reactions to what Dr. Hill was talking about. So Hill is, um, at the gas station, and he gives Clover some advice about looking for her sister because people go missing all the time up the road. So Clover's like, "So you've seen my sister?" And he was like, "Yeah, I've seen her." So she's like, "Guys, I think we may be onto something here. Maybe we can find some clues as to what happened to her." And Megan's like, "Well, maybe we should say a prayer first, and so on, because maybe our luck is going to change." And they're all kind of like, "Oh my God, what are we doing?" Um, so they drive up the road. It is pouring out, and Clover's like, "Maybe we should stop. Maybe we should turn around. Maybe this is a bad idea." And Max is like, "No, we'll keep driving, keep driving." And finally, the rain stops, and they find this little town's welcome center. Just a weird start, They drive all this way through a rainstorm, and then they stop at the point where there's no more rain, and it's just the welcome center. When they get out of the car, they notice that the clouds are kind of all in a circle around the welcome center and a little bit of the forest. I mean, right there, you would think, oh, like I'm getting in the car, I'm going to turn around, I'm going to drive back through. Well, of course, this is a movie, so we got to do that. We've got to do that. So um, they pull into the welcome center, and uh, they all get out. Clover feels like she hears something, and so she walks over to the water, and she notices that again she's standing completely, you know, dry now. Reaches through the water, and then realizes that she sees something on the other side, maybe her sister. So she runs out there. Bad idea. Of course, the other four have gone into the welcome center, kind of looking around, trying to figure out, what is going on. Nina finds a um, sign-in sheet, and she notices that Melanie had been here because her name was listed 13 times. And she kind of felt it kind of strange that she would have been here 13 times. So Max and Abel are looking through, trying to find out what else is going on. Megan goes outside, and then she comes back in. Abel goes outside to go and find Clover because Abel likes Clover, but is too shy to tell her. So Max finds a room where um, all the missing posters are on, and it's very odd to him that a welcome center would have like a stashed little room on the other side of the welcome area with um, wanted signs. Then, um, so before that, there's little Easter eggs in here. Megan is wearing a butterfly um, little uh, necklace, and then there's just subtle little hints of the game incorporated into it. Also on the wall, there is an hourglass, and it is tipped down at the bottom like the sand had gone all the way through. As soon as Max gets everyone but Abel and Clover into the room where the um, missing posters, all of a sudden something happens. Nina goes out into the hallway and notices that um, the hourglass has shifted over, and now the sand has started to come down. This is when a hulking man in a mask, bringing back again an element of the game, and he just slaughters them, very quickly. Um, and then Abel and Clover also die at the same time. Now they all go back to where they were before the um, hourglass started. So they all just kind of are spawning. So basically, we're doing spawning if we're doing Groundhog Day, except this is a little bit different than Groundhog Day. So you would think that the way the trailer was going, that they would have to go and survive through out, how many other days to survive the same thing over and over again. But it wasn't. So this time, so the second day, Nina goes and signs the book, and then, um, the welcome center has kind of changed a little bit, and there's something new outside. So it's kind of like the city, or this little town, is starting to pop up as well. They also have bruising where they were attacked, so that kind of lingered with them. So now something else happens. So now they're not being chased by this big hulking thing. All of a sudden, it's a invisible force that is pulling them all around, especially Clover. Clover is taken outside and across the street to a witch's house. Inside the witch's house, there is there's masks for the big hulking figure, but also it's got some details from the game. And so they're trying to figure out, oh, what has happened to Clover? Abel's going to go across the street and try to save Clover. The other three are attacked and are killed. Abel and Clover are killed. Right back to where they started again. So this time, and this one's kind of just weird how this all happened, and this was a very quick night. So at the beginning, Megan was trying to use the water in the bathroom, but it wasn't working. So this time, Max is like, "I'm thirsty. I need, or I need to wash up as well." Megan goes, "Well, the water isn't working." Well, Max turns it on and it starts working. He grabs a cup out of the cabinet and they start passing it around. And all of a sudden they start coughing and stuff. And then Max explodes. Just spontaneously combusts. And they're like, "Oh my god, what happened?" "Oh, he drank the water." "Well, we all drank the water." And explode, explode, explode. Clover's the last one, but she's confronted by Dr. Hill, who said that trying to stop this is not helpful, and you almost made it through, but you're going to die. Explodes. And then he walks off. So again, another day. Now all of a sudden more and more of the town starts showing up. So now they have different obstacles or different ways that they can go outside the visitor center. So they realize that in order to survive, that they need to stick together. If one person dies, everybody's going to die. Because there's a scene where Clover and Abel go out, and Nina, Max, and Megan are still in the visitor center. And I don't know, Megan starts to get this eerie feeling, and then she winds up dying. Nina says to Max, "Well, we have to die as well." She takes a pickaxe and sticks it in him, and then she's kind of waiting around. Well, I don't know how she was going to kill herself, but it didn't matter because the big hulking guy with the mask again comes back, takes the pickaxe, and sticks it through her head. So again, graphic kills, some funny scene or funny interaction, like Max is, literally dying on the floor with the pickaxe, and from Nina, and then so to speed up things, they wind up getting to the 13th day, but they don't know how they got there because it just seemed like they only had gone through a few days. But Nina notices that they've been there 13 days. So where did all the rest of the time go? So Max is like, "Well, I must have videotaped some of this because I was videotaping at least one day." And so they start going through. So each day they see more and more death. So they see how that works. Now, I understand why the writer decided to do this, and a lot of people who hated the movie was like, "Well, why didn't we just see it all?" Well, because then it would just drag the movie out. We need to get to an end at some point. We can't have a 3-hour movie for a video game that isn't really a video game. It's Until Dawn, but it's a different take on it. You know what I mean? Like, because Until Dawn game probably lasts 3 or 4 hours if you played all the way through without replay or whatever. Um, so, I get where some people's obviously review of it, you know, makes it seem like it's a really bad movie. Well, it's really not. So finally, they get to day 12. Megan notices that um, Dr. Hill is in there trying to observe how they're dying. And she is caught on video by Max escaping because when they come through, Megan's not there. So either Megan's already dead or she's somewhere else in the town and they gotta go find her. So Max says, well, Megan must have taken off after him. So Max, Nina, Clover, and Abel go out and try to find Megan. So now we get elements of the psychiatric hospital that is in the game. We also get the mines because the town disappeared because of a mining accident. So, but now every day it's kind of rebuilt itself up, and obviously the mines down below are walkable. So Clover, they go out and they're getting away from the Wendigos. They also noticed that they are starting to turn into Wendigos. Like Max has got um, you know like spikes in his spine. Nina Nina like goes, "No, you look fine. Nothing happened to you." Because he's like, "Man, there's something in my back." Um, I think Megan, before she disappeared, noticed she was growing extra teeth. Nina noticed something about her being different, and so on. So I guess that 13th day makes them into the Wendigos. So um, they're out there, they're running away from the Wendigos, and they wind up, going through the mines. They kind of get separated. Clover gets separated into the psychiatric hospital up top, where she notices that Megan is still alive, but she's in a chair tied up, and there's a Wendigo that is chained up on the wall, and he's trying to get at her. And she's like, "Oh, I gotta find the key," blah, blah, blah. Walks through a little bit more and finds Hill's office, where he has been watching on his monitors from this office. He walks in and he tells us why all of this is happening. And it's because of Clover's insecurity. So everything that is happening because Clover is very insecure about her life and so on, and she feels sorry for what happened to Melanie, her sister. So he'll constantly just telling her the same thing over and over again. And then Clover doesn't really want to hear it, and she notices that the ceiling is leaking water. He put his coffee down on the desk. She, while he had his back turned, slid the coffee under the water, dripped a couple times and put it back. So if theory is true, when he takes the water, he was going to explode too. And this is how Clover and the rest of them were going to escape, as long as they weren't killed by any Wendigos or anything else that was going on. Abel and Max and Nina now have to confront the big baddie, who had killed them on numerous occasions. They get the best of him, and Abel is able, is able to swing a sledgehammer to his head, and it's just, it's like a pumpkin just exploding. It's so cool to kind of see. So that alerts the Wendigos that are outside. Now they're chasing. Clover watches Hill explode, finds the keys in the desk, runs over and grabs Megan. Now, she's now there trying to escape the Wendigos when they get separated by some falling debris. And now Melanie is now in front of her, in front of Clover, but she's now a Wendigo. So they have a little battle. Uh, Clover feels sorry she couldn't protect her, and then kills her to escape. So um, now they all kind of meet up, and they've got to escape as time is running out, because it's getting so close to the end. And are they going to survive, all five of them, and go home? Well, the answer is yes, they do, but barely. And thanks to the mines kind of collapsing inward while they were climbing up through the grass area, um, like a almost a wishing well type thing, but not really. Um, but they were able to escape as the last sand dropped, and that's it. Everything gets wiped out. Everything goes back underground. The rain has stopped. Everything, and they have survived. They all look back in normal, and they survive. The end. Now, the end of the movie shows Hill back in his office um, at the psychiatric hospital, where a black van drives up to a snowy um, cabin in the woods, which makes you think that there will be absolutely another one. And this time it may actually tell the actual story of the game, because there was the scene, and this is why I'm saying this. We're going to circle back. Hill's desk had um, actual files of the original game characters. Remy Malek's character is on the desk, and a couple of the other ones are on the desk. So there is a lot of elements from the game. But again, you can't tell the game because it's, one of those, you choose the characters and you choose, who lives and dies and so on. So again, um, the movie itself is definitely really good. Did it live up to my hype? To a certain extent, yes. Um, because again, I knew it wasn't going to be the game. It was going to be something different. It was a different kind of tale. And again, looking at it from the um, the trailer, you're thinking it's going to be like a Groundhog Day, where okay, now they're going to get smarter. They're going to know how to avoid all this. Well, it was Groundhog Day to them, but throughout the movie, everything changes, and everything keeps changing, and everything kind of ties back to the game with all the butterfly effect and the um, kind of little Easter eggs. I mean, there's so many Easter eggs in this movie. There's so many I can't even begin to count them. But I understand why, again, people didn't like it. They thought the characters didn't have much development. Well, again, we're not in the game, you get to choose their development, where in the movie, you don't. And so maybe they were kind of, generic characters, with cheesy lines or whatever. But I think that what made the movie a little bit more interesting is because they were kind of one dimensional. I read, well, they didn't learn anything during the movie. Yeah, they did. They didn't have the same obstacles every single day. They had to deal with, you know, a multitude of things. But the one premise that they all knew is they needed to all survive. So if one dies, the rest of them had to die. Or as they were dying, okay, we're all dead. But they knew if they were going to escape, all five of them had to survive. Just that simple. So they were learning, but they weren't learning, again, if you want to do Deja Vu or the Groundhog Day, where, you know, Bill Murray's character was, going through the same motions every single day, trying to figure out where he was wrong. I like the fact that they didn't do it that way, where, okay, we know the big guy's coming. We know the witch is across the street. We know this, that, and the other. We know not to drink the water. Well, they figured out after they all exploded not to drink the water. But again, not doing the same things every single day made them learn that they had to stick together and they had to survive, all of them. Because again, when Nina stuck the pickaxe into Max, she knew that if they were already dead, we had to die or we were going to survive and they were not coming back. So, again, they were learning things. So, I will give this. Um, I will give this 2 thumbs up for me. Again, as you're listening to this, or if you're reading reviews, you know, go into it with an open mind. It is not retelling the game. We're not reinventing the game. We are simply telling a different story with the Until Dawn name on it. So the story is probably very similar to the game, but the actual game itself is completely different than the movie. Because obviously, when you die in the game, you don't respawn and have to try to survive the rest of the night. No, you just die. And that's fine with me because there was one, like I said, one character that literally needed to die every time. Um, but I also tried to play through the game and try to save everyone, and just I could not do it. Now maybe I'll go back and try to play it again. Maybe this time I won't try to kill. I believe her name was Emily. If you played the game, um, you might have the same reaction. Um, if Emily was the right name, I probably should have played the game through again before I did this. But so I think for what this was, uh, will it be my top 10 at the end of the year? Maybe. But is it the best picture of the year for me? No. Um, but it did live up to that anticipation. And again, I kind of knew what I was going to get into when because again, just seeing the trailer and knowing from, um, reading a few things about the behind the scenes stuff, what this movie was going to be about. And again, people, you could go and see it and say, come back and comments and say, well, it was garbage or whatever. But I think it definitely works, and if they do a sequel, awesome. because you have that already built in, where you could do that again, but you could also learn from, listening to critiques of it, or keep the same format and do it differently with, the original game. So, but I did love it, and very glad to see it. If you've seen it, let me know. Comment below. All right. If you haven't seen it, go and see it and comment below. Simple. So, all right. So that is my review of Until Dawn. I know I've hyped this movie up so much, and I really think that you'll enjoy it if you are, a fan of the game. All right. Look for more content. I got more stuff coming out. Obviously, I've got a review of Havoc. Also have Comic Cons are coming up again here in this area. I've been to a lot of them. We're going to get into all of that. We're also going to maybe start shooting some shots at trying to get some guests on, because I would really, really like to do more guests on the show. I mentioned that last year. Definitely want to do it this year now that I have more capability to do that with the camera and so on. So I want to thank everyone for watching and listening, and I will see you all at the movies.
You like that, baby? Let him know where I came from, yeah!
See you next time. Bye.
Waiting for you. Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye. Goodbye.
Hasta la vista, baby.
That's all, folks.